Perfect. No issue. Went right through. All right. Welcome back
Raymond.
to the Breaker Bros. And tonight we're going to do a bit of a reaction to Cris Collinsworth. And I guess that's basically the topic of this stream. Do people really believe in the Super Bowl hype for the Bengals? I mean, for us as Bengals fans, I think we do, but I think people that...
We're somebody.
That's true. That's
We're
true.
Somebody.
But I feel like it feels different this year. It feels more real. And I guess with the clip that we're about to watch and react to with Cris Collinsworth, I always felt like he's always been maybe a little bit overly critical about the Bengals. And for him to actually pick them and actually show that he's got like high expectations, I think that's a big sign. I'm not sure if you have initial thoughts before we watch this or...
Not really. I mean, I never really thought of Cris Collinsworth as being anti-Bengals. I mean, I've heard. I mean, to me, like the criticism that I most heard about Cris Collinsworth is that he's like corny and like people don't like him on like Sunday Night Football because he's like everything's always like the greatest or the best. He's always washing people up. But you know, I like his shtick. I like the aw shucks kind of Midwestern vibe he puts off.
Yeah, no, I mean, when it comes to like analysis and like his inside perspective, I think he does a really good job because he was a player.
Tell you what, man, I see Collinsworth, it makes me want to buy a Cadillac, man. Right?
I can see that, but I always felt like he's always been overly critical, like of the Bengals. It always seemed like he would go out of his way to mention things to criticize, to whereas like anytime he talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers, it was like, holy crap, you would have thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted Cris Collinsworth by the way, like how prestigious he always makes the Steelers. Has he ever said any bad thing about the Steelers? I don't know if I've ever seen him live say something critical of the Steelers as the way he does with the Bengals. And that's why I think it always felt like sour grapes. But again, with the whole Joe Burrow era, I think the tides have turned. So I think this would be a good time to start the clip and see what he says.
Cris, it brings us to our first topic. I'm curious if you're going to go with Washington here, your Super Bowl pick. It's a team you've never picked before. Who is it? Tell us why it's them. And don't just give us this, it's just their year, blah, blah. We need real facts and reasons.
Well, a lot of people in Cincinnati think that I hate the Bengals. They think that I hate every team in the NFL. The number one question I get every time I go to a city is, why do you hate the whatever team it is, right, that is their favorite team? But I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals for the first time in my entire life. I think that Joe Burrow is too good to, at this point, not have a ring on his finger. You know, let's put a ring on it. Let's go. He's been too good. They've got look at the skill.
So seems positive.
Yeah, it's funny because it starts with a quarterback for sure, and I think.
Well, it's a quarterback league. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the NFL is a quarterback league.
It's true. I mean, it's built around the quarterback. I feel like the quarterback position probably has the most effect on updates to the rules in terms of like, how much they've protected the passer.
Dads, get your kid out there, have him throw the rock around.
Yeah,
you want to be a quarterback
for sure. I don't know. I feel like if you're trying to make money, wouldn't it be better to be a pitcher?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, I guess, but football wise, definitely quarterback. But no, I mean, you could tell he's hyped about it, and I think everyone knows how special Joe Burrow is, and I'm not sure like how in depth he goes with his analysis, but I think, and I know a lot of people felt this last year, but I feel like our line should be significantly better, even from last year, which towards the end of the year it seemed like they were starting to gel and get to the...
Yeah, the line was significantly better. They just all got hurt at the absolute worst.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I feel like we're even better from that point just by adding Orlando Brown Jr. to the left side and then moving Jonah to the right side and I feel like the last couple of weeks, it seems like Jonah has really come on to his new role. And I think he knows too, like he can still make a lot of money on the right side. And Wouldn't you want to be above average right tackle than just like an average left tackle? Like, it's better to be dominant than not dominant. But I don't know. I'm excited about this line.
Bills,
and it just
you show you can play tackle in the NFL. You're gonna get paid.
Right, and then
I don't
versatile.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna get paid.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt he's gonna get paid 100%. I don't know if it's gonna be
really,
us, but
job one for Jonah is to stay healthy. If he plays the whole year and plays the way we believe he can, he's gonna make a significant amount of money in his next contract. So, and I think he realizes, right? I think the initial shock wore off, and I think he's kind of game on.
I think
So,
he explained himself well.
You have your
and
but I mean, it sucks to get replaced.
it's just it's a whole thing of emotions because he played the whole year hurt, which he doesn't really get credit for, and you do that, and it kind of
Hey,
comes
wait,
to
wait,
expense.
wait. We give him credit, right?
Right. Well, I mean, overall,
Credit.
at the end of the day, we just know overall, and even at his best, like Orlando Brown Jr. is an upgrade, and it's not a knock at Jonah Williams. It's just it is what it is. But I get where he felt slighted at the end of the year, huh?
It's an upgrade to the line,
Right? Yeah, and
Jonah's still starting, right?
Right, that's what I'm
So-
saying. I feel like he's going to excel at the right tackle because that's where like his athleticism is going to take in being on right tackle because like he's going to be going against every now and then he'll probably be the best pass rusher, but more often it's going to be the second best pass rusher. So like he's going to fare well against that versus like the number one all the time, So like overall, it just
I mean, to me, I just never thought that he played poorly. I mean, he got hurt. Like if I was a GM, like if you told me, like if you could guarantee to me that Jonah Williams would be healthy for the entire contract, I'd have no problem giving him money because I think he's a good player. His problem has always been he gets nicked up, he gets hurt, and like he's only looked bad when he's been hurt. But
well,
the
isn't
problem
he?
is he's been
Don't
hurt
get me
a
wrong.
lot.
Like in average human being terms, he's huge. But in terms of left tackle, isn't he kind of undersized though as a left tackle?
Yeah, I mean he's not big for a left tackle.
Right,
I think he's like 315, 320.
Yeah,
310 to 320 range. So he's not
that's
small.
Still, no, you're right. That's still pretty big. He doesn't seem like he's that big, but I'm sure he's huge, like in person.
Yeah, I mean, like I mean, if you look at offensive linemen have all kinds of, odd body types, I mean, they're just got different shapes, right?
Yeah.
So, you can't judge them on that, I don't think. I mean,
well, nonetheless, I guess the main point is that I'm just happy where his mind is, and I think happy Jonah Williams at the right tackle makes our offensive line even better because, like, to upgrade our offensive line 2 years in a row like the way we did is just, or like from Joe Burrow's first year starting, his offensive line to now is just amazingly different.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this is going to sound weird, so I hope I say it right. But I feel like the team has more answers than questions at offensive line, right?
Yeah.
I think they have depth now.
Real
right?
depth, yeah. Like there's people fighting to make the roster to be depth type.
That 2 years ago we would have been hoping would be starters.
Right.
And now those same guys are hoping to make the team.
They might even be practice squad guys, some of these people.
Well, yeah. So I'm just saying though, it's just like that's the improvement, and I think we've always felt that if Burrow had a above average line, that with the weapons that are on the team, that the Bengals offense is going to be pretty dang good.
Yeah, I mean you're going to maximize that talent if you give them
So
that.
you've been watching Cris Collinsworth. Pretty dang good, Josh. Pretty dang good.
All right, let's keep it going.
Pardon my French.
Maybe a Cris Collins soundbite too.
I mean, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon. Which team's skill position players would you rather have? Joe Burrow has been right there, give and take, with Patrick Mahomes, and they've split the games that they've been in. They go to
Not really split. 3-1's
Buffalo in
not
the
split.
snow and make some brilliant plays there. Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard on the edge, some great young speed in the secondary. This is the year. And one of the reasons that I like them so much is that they
speed in the secondary. That's what we've been talking about. It's the youth movement, right?
Yep. Tyson.
They keep drafting
Hill.
guys that are 4.3 40 type guys. So
who's our second rounder this year? The corner. I keep forgetting his name.
Is it DJ Turner?
Yeah, but he was the fastest corner, right, in the draft this year?
No, mine's Clavin.
Yeah, DJ Turner.
Okay. We get it right?
No, that's right. When you said it, it's I know it's right. But no, but like all the experience that he's getting in the preseason now, and like that's same thing that I think what Dax Hill did last year. Like he got all like
I feel like he's gonna be Awuzie's backup, right?
Yeah,
so that's why they're playing him a ton in the preseason.
Yeah,
because once the season starts, I think Awuzie is going to start, and then he's probably not going to get a lot of snaps.
Yeah, I mean you're going to go from like 97% of plays to like 15% if he's lucky.
Mm-hmm.
In the AFC North. I mean, this is, in my opinion, the toughest division in all of football. So while they may not even win the North, the Bengals may not. But by the time you slug your way.
Wait. We're going to win the North, right?
Well, I think the point he's trying to make is that the division's battle tested. So normally, if you're coming out of a really strong division, you're more prepared in the playoffs, which I think there is truth to that. Like you're not as shell shocked when you go through a really tough division and you get to the playoffs and everything is like, because when you have a good division like we have, they're basically mini playoff games. Like you feel that intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So I get what he's saying.
I feel it. I feel the intensity. Has he got a safe in the background? What's going on there?
I thought he was in a doctor's office for a second, but I guess that's his office. Doesn't it look like?
It does look like a doctor's office. It does.
I just realized this is probably just his office,
weird.
But he must be like one of those people that are very
it's weird
organized.
Because it like the furniture looks like a doctor's office, right? I feel like
the cabinets. It's like
I feel like in there's like tongue depressors and like cotton swabs.
Yeah.
Right. But then he's got like his some kind of Florida plaque. And then what was that? The University of Florida degree. Okay. But then on this side, it looks like a house.
Yeah.
On the right side, it's like, well, that's just a house store, right? And like just like
maybe like a doctor's office was like closing, and he got like a really good sale on like the repurposed cabinets, and he was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll just take the whole side.
Yeah, because that looks like some plush carpet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He lives in Cincinnati though, right? Or Kentucky, Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, I think he lives in Northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, really, we get the Cris Collinsworth picking the Bengals, but who's Jack Collinsworth picking?
Way through that division, you're battle tested, you're ready, you're one Kyle Brandt speech away from winning a championship. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Kyle Brandt. Shout out.
I think the only thing that he didn't really mention is like we got depth. It feels like when we went through our thing last year and we're losing pieces here and there, we kind of like put ourselves in the position where if that does happen again, we're covered. Because even when we got in the playoffs and we played the Chiefs and Tyler Boyd got hurt, because like he had that quote, Tyler Boyd, I believe, is that he said that we would have won if he didn't get hurt. And that was part of the criticism of Irwin, and maybe that's his plateau, is that when you get those elite corners, he can't
like
get that.
If Tyler Boyd didn't get hurt, they would have won.
Yeah, no, but the point is, like, we drafted like Yosavash and Charlie Jones, and it seemed like Charlie Jones was going to be the guy that was going to most likely be that fourth or get into that fourth receiver role and have that matchup to where one of our top three gets hurt. But it seems like Yosavash
who do you have as fourth receiver now? You have Yosavash now?
No. Well, it's Irwin. Right? Irwin is more proven, and I think he makes more sense right now. But I think over the course of the season, I think Yosavash could take it. Because I mean, if he can continues to do what he's doing and he actually does it during the regular season, then yeah, he's going to be the guy for sure. Because like he's winning one-on-one matchups. Not to say that Irwin can't, and he has, but it just sometimes he doesn't have that breakaway.
Well,
He
yeah,
creates
yeah.
that separation.
So, yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, why would you? To me, I would go with Josevach.
Yeah,
as a
but
fourth
he's still a
receiver
rookie. Like
week
it's
one.
you
Yeah, but
got
who
you got to
cares?
you got to
He's
do it
doing the season.
in the real season. Then if that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. If he does it
so
in the real
I
season,
would
I
put him
agree.
out
But
there.
right
would
now
put
it's
him
still
out there.
preseason. It's
Well, yeah, but to
that's
me,
the
it's
first
just
step.
like
Now you got to do it
to
in the
me,
real
it's like
season.
you know what you have in Irwin, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure he could
And in
develop
the
a little
early
bit more of it.
season, I would be trying to give Josevach some reps so you could see if he can play, right? Because if he can play as the fourth receiver, then you want him to play as much as possible so that he's got that experience.
I think
going
there's
into
a
playoffs.
consensus, or like there's a thing where like I can see him actually being on the active roster, Josevach, throughout the
I'm
season.
talking about him be the fourth receiver.
No,
Like,
I
why
agree.
wouldn't he
Yeah.
be?
That would be his ceiling, but his plateau would probably be the fifth receiver, right? Like we're talking about 1 or 2 spots.
Well, I'm talking like week one. To me, it's like I've seen enough. Like put him in there.
I think the only problem with that, I think the only reason why Charlie Jones would have an advantage is that he can return punts.
How many receivers are on the active roster? That's where you've lost me.
I think it's 5.
5. Okay.
Maybe not.
Why
could be
does
5 or
Irwin have to
6.
be on the So can you be on the team but not on the active roster?
Yeah, because there's 53 players on the roster, and then there's 47 players, I think, on the active, like game day. So there's always like a handful that sit.
Then I would put Irwin not on the. I would put him on inactives. I would err towards the side of giving the younger players experience because I feel like you're talking about like 3 targets. Right?
I guess you could have 6 receivers on the active roster. I think you kind of would have to if you, especially the Bengals, since they run a lot of 3 receiver sets. So maybe.
Yeah. So I don't know how many they're going to do on the active roster, but to me, I would err on the side of playing the
well,
younger
if they do
guys
6, then
upside.
6, he's definitely going to be on the active roster. But if it's 5, then that might be kind of dicey because then I feel like they almost have to have 6.
Who?
Josevach.
I don't know. To me, it's like we know he's big and fast, so let's see him play in a real game.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think they're going to do it.
I'd want to do that as soon as possible.
Well, you also want to keep some things in the bag too. Like if you don't have to show things early, and you can do certain things in certain ways. But
when are you going to show?
I don't know. That's for
like
the coaches.
So
that's the advantage when you have young players that no one can scheme around. Is that you can, because if there's certain things that they excel at that you know,
nobody can scheme around the fourth receiver for the Bengals. Nobody.
Right. I mean, yeah.
That's why I'd rather have the guy with game breaking that has game breaking speed. Because so like when he's in, I mean, so it's pick your poison, right? And you know they're gonna pick to guard Chase, Higgins, or Boyd, right?
Yeah.
So he's gonna be getting like one-on-one matchups against
with
their fourth
Chase,
best corner.
Yeah. No.
And if you go to him, it's going to be because everything's covered up. So it's like, okay, well, maybe he can break a big gain, right? He could. It could be like kind of like a high leverage kind of player, right?
Yeah.
And then if you play him and he's not ready, then you go back to Irwin because you know what Irwin is,
Yeah, I think realistically you're going to start with Irwin at the beginning because that's just the way it is. Because they just have more trust in him. But
some things will never change, man.
So I wonder if Charlie Jones has got the punt returning duties. I'm surprised they haven't tried to or has Chris Evans tried to return punts? Because I feel like
Evans has returned.
I know he does kickoffs.
I don't think he did punts.
Because he's actually pretty good with kickoffs. Because he it seems like he always has a.
Correct us.
Huh?
Is there anybody in the chat to correct us? Nothing.
No, not right now. But
you got anybody in the chat? Wait, Wait, I got some sound from the chat.
I did the crickets.
Okay. No, nothing. Okay. Fair enough.
But if you happen to come in after the fact, feel free to leave a comment. You don't have to be live.
I guess you could comment. Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to comment. But I don't know. I feel like this year feels different. It seems like, because I also heard some like quotes or rumblings throughout the Bengals locker room that they're talking about going undefeated throughout the whole season. And that's like extreme confidence. Like if a team really is talking about going undefeated the whole year, that's interesting.
I'd take it, but okay.
I don't necessarily, because I just know how the NFL is, and like there's always that 1 week where you're like, what the heck, and everything goes wrong, and like there's always teams, really good teams that lose to bad teams, so it's just anything can happen, right? But the thing I think that's kind of getting also, I guess, swept underneath the carpet is that I think Chase is probably set up for having like a career year, because like from all accounts that like it just seems like he's in really good condition right now, and it's like, and he seems like he's having a lot of fun. That's usually a big clue. Like
You want to have fun.
yeah, it's just like they play loose, so like it could be like one of those big years for him, but no one's really talking about it because like he got hurt last year, and it's weird like when you miss. I guess he missed 5 games.
Mm.
And then that's a big reason why, like, I guess some people are upset with his ranking, with the player rankings, but
Where was he ranked?
I think 39th overall. I mean, that's crazy, but
It's insane.
yeah. Truly insane, yeah. No, like, because if the Chiefs can have, like, 3 people in the top 10, then
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
absurd.
yeah.
The
But,
Chiefs are one referee call away from losing to the Bengals at home. Come on now.
Well, now they have that whole Chris Jones drama, too. Like,
Mhm.
he might hold out throughout the season. That's
All right. I'm gonna say my number one rule of thumb: players holding out like that means he's hurt.
You think he's hurt?
Mm-hmm.
He just wants more money. He wants to get paid market value, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. But he's holding out. To
Right.
me, if you're holding out, that means you're hurt.
Or you can get the money.
I think he's hurt. Just my theory. I just feel like if a player holds out, they're hurt.
You think he hurt himself when he gave Goodell that bear hug? Like maybe when he
Probably.
picked him up, he like hurt something in his lower back,
Yeah. Or maybe like a lower
like a herniated
L5
disc.
disc. Yeah, I think so. Goodell's bigger than he looks,
Yeah.
He's probably thinking it'd be like, picking up like a teenager, and it was like, oh, this is like picking up a outside linebacker. Wasn't
Huh.
he didn't like brace his core. He just kind of just went for it.
No, yeah. That was another weird thing. I couldn't understand why he was so happy with him. Like that was just such a weird interaction. Like
I don't even know what you're talking about.
when Goodell and Chris Jones celebrated after the Super Bowl. That's why I'm saying like he gave him a big hug.
Gotcha.
You didn't see that?
Gotcha. No, I was probably eating chili dip.
I feel like you could probably YouTube it just like Chris Jones hugging Goodell, but it was
Well,
just
I'm
like
sure I could YouTube it, but like, do I have the instant recall as you're saying it? No.
well, no, it'd be one of those things where you had to watch because it was like after the fact, like how they have the little ceremony and all that. But like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it was like Goodell was like giving a big hug, like because
Yeah,
he said something about like I wouldn't have called that a roughing passer call or something like that.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said something to that extent, and then he gave him like they gave each other a big bear hug, which is, I mean, to me, it's kind of cool that you could have those feelings, but also at the same time, I don't think it's a good look if you're a commissioner. Like you shouldn't like show that there could be like a conflict of interest. You know what I mean? It just seems kind of like
Yeah,
kind of weird.
there are very few things I could be complimentary of Goodell in regards to the NFL.
Because don't you want to appear like you're still neutral? Because like when
Yeah,
you're bear
but I
hugging a
mean,
dude like that,
the
that's
guy
why
doesn't
people
know
think
what the
like,
hell
oh, the NFL's fixed, and it's like,
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing. Well, let me rephrase that. He's like a politician. He's good at his job. His job, what's Goodell's job?
public relations probably.
No. His job is to make the owners happy. So he must be great at that part. But in terms of
Yeah.
like for fans, he's like not a good commissioner from like a fan perspective. You know, like he does all kinds of weird things. He's like done this like weird thing for like suspending players with like no rules. You know, he just kind of makes it up as he goes. Like how long players get suspended, you know, all this gambling stuff, like players are getting suspended for like multiple years, you know, it's just like, where are the rules?
And they're sponsored by gambling. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly. To me, it's just like, if you're going to suspend people, like you should say, hey, if you do this, we're going to suspend you for like 5 games. If you do this, it's a year. If you do that, but none of that stuff is like predefined. It's just sort of like when it happens, he just kind of licks his finger, holds it up to the wind, is like, 8 games, you know? So like nothing is proportional and fair. And it's just like, if you suspend players, it like completely changes the outcome of seasons for teams.
What's up, Joey?
You know? Hey,
Sorry,
Joey.
we're ranting about Goodell, but if you have anything to say about him, we would love to hear it.
Yeah, are you going to defend? Are you going to defend Goodell, Joey?
That's how a private enterprise operates. Facts. I mean, it is an entertainment business, and I think there's weight to that. I think they definitely look at things from a profit standpoint, not necessarily if things are fair.
That's fine. That's fine.
What did he do? Well, the initial conversations started about Chris Jones bear hugging Goodell after the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, and then I think Goodell said something to the extent where I don't mind if you hit the quarterback, or I wouldn't call that a roughing passer or something to the extent where it's like they were just being buddy, which seemed kind of weird to me because like as a commissioner, I think you should be a little bit more neutral. I mean, at the same time, I like people being themselves, and it's kind of refreshing that, you know, you can see the human side of it. But again, he's a commissioner. I think you should try to be a little bit more neutral, or appear to be neutral, right?
Well, let's turn it around the other way.
All about Mixon. Wait, did something happen with Mixon?
A few things, right?
I don't know. I don't live in Cincinnati, so I don't hear all like.
No, you don't know all the things that's been going on with Mixon summer?
Well, I don't know if anything is new about it.
Well, he had a victory in the court for the menacing charge, so that's gone away.
Okay.
I think. I don't know for sure. And then I guess a neighbor of his who's like a high school kid got shot playing Nerf gun wars. You know, do they do Nerf wars in Texas? In Cincinnati, it's like a big thing. Like the high school kids all play Nerf wars.
I don't know. I don't
Or they just
play with the kids around here, so it's hard for me to say. So,
I mean, you see it. I mean, if you drive around like neighborhoods, you see like high school kids like rolling up on each other.
See, that's weird. I don't ever really
at
see
each
kids
other.
playing outside at all. That's when I drive around.
Well, it's because it's like the surface of the sun down there.
Yeah.
But in the
That's true.
Midwest, where we still have moderate temperatures, except not tomorrow. It's supposed to be like 100 degrees tomorrow. But the high school kids like to shoot Nerf guns at each other. Anyways, some high school dudes were shooting Nerf guns at each other, and they were in Mixon's yard and trying to get the facts straight. They were in Mixon's yard, and somehow one of the kids that was shooting Nerf guns ended up getting shot.
With a real gun?
Yes.
Damn.
Bullets.
Okay. How old was the kid?
Like a high school kid.
Did he end up being fine, or?
He survived, yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he wasn't like critically injured or anything like that.
like he probably wasn't close to death, but he did get shot with a gun.
Yeah.
So he was in the hospital. I don't know if he's fully recovered yet, but I mean, it's serious. He got shot.
Right.
But
No,
it was like
I understand that.
but
I mean,
I'm pretty sure that this is
look
right.
like an adult. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that he was running away as he got shot too.
Oh.
But I'm not 100% sure if that's correct. But that's what I remember reading, right? So anyway, but the thing is, Mixon wasn't home when it happened, right?
It was,
but Mixon is the guy with the money, right? So the people in his house don't have the money, so he's got legal issues, right? That because generally, if there's a lawsuit,
the people in his house was
money
relatives, right? From what I understand,
I believe it was his sister and her boyfriend, maybe. So
it was his bodyguard. Well, nonetheless, it seems like it got all situated. I wasn't, like I said, I'm in Texas.
Well, that's still unresolved. That's
it is. Okay, never mind. Okay.
Yes. But I mean the menacing thing was someone alleged that I think it's like brandishing a gun, right? Threatened somebody with a gun, but that was found to be not guilty, so didn't happen. At least according to the
with that one, I was kind of confused about it. Why it took so long for them to write or do the complaint or the whatever the legal termination or the legal term is, because like, didn't it technically happen after be right before the AFC Championship game? But then
I don't know when it happened.
File the charges until like several months after the fact.
I didn't read too much into it.
Yeah, that's the only part where I was confused about.
I saw the headline. It was like menacing. I'm just like,
Oh, he watches the house apparently. Okay. His sister boyfriend works for Mixon. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, that I can see that that's how they would try to get to Mixon, is saying that if he's actually his bodyguard. I think that makes it a little bit more likely that there's the lawsuit has merit. But I mean, the sad part is the kid got shot.
Yeah.
Just acting like just high school kids. It's common around here. I mean, Loveland. I still remember like just walking around the neighborhood in Loveland. You see like just some kid pull up and like his Honda Civic, hop out with like a Nerf gun and shoot some other kid, laugh, hop back in his car, drive away.
Yeah.
Just kind of. I guess Collinsworth would call it tomfoolery. Pardon my French.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a different time now though, for sure. Like.
Yeah, no, I mean, but it's not good.
Right. 17-year-old wearing all black with a gun, shaped object hiding inside. Yeah, no, I honestly, I can understand it from that perspective, because like when I had a drunk person she wasn't really trying to break into my house, but when it happened and
you have like drunk girls breaking into your house.
Yeah, it was like the craziest thing ever.
House.
No, it was like,
oh, it must be rough, Josh.
No, it was like when you're not prepared for something like that, like your adrenaline starts taking over. Because like when it was happening, like because initially I didn't even think it was a woman. Like I thought it was like a homeless man, like all like drugged up. Because like they were just banging on the door and they're just like, let me effing in, just like being all belligerent, like, okay, like I'm gonna let you in. Like what? Like it just didn't make any sense. Like if you're trying to get someone's house, you think you'd be a little bit more like sweet, but if you're like demanding to come in and like she's just like, or at the time someone's just banging and like we're calling the cops. Texas? This happened like 2 months ago. Like 2
months ago?
Yeah, it was relatively, but nonetheless, it was just like your flight of like the flight or fight.
No, I get you.
So like. Also, too, like, if you're in that situation and if like, people are after, like, your money or whatever, like, if they know you're well off, right, being in that situation, people probably know Mixon lived there or associated with it, you're probably going to be a little bit more tense, right, because you're probably thinking, oh, they're probably going to rob me. Because that's immediately what was happening was, like, the person was being so illogical. Like, I thought they were trying to distract us in the front to sneak in the back. That's how how I was thinking. Because, like, why were they? But then I realized that after the police came and all, it was like drunk women. I'm like, what? It's like, that didn't even sound like a drunk woman. Well, the craziest part, like, she must have been on something else because, like, the police came and they're like, okay, we got her, we're talking to her, blah blah blah, and I was like, okay, like, 15 minutes afterwards, like, we thought everything was over. I thought I heard a cat. I was like, is there a cat in our room? Because, like, we're all just, like, in the, like, living room trying to settle down. And I was like, do you hear a cat? And then I realized it's that woman. And it's like 3 or 4 police officers are trying to detain her on the ground, and she's like screaming or trying to scream.
Okay.
Yeah, she's trying to scream at the top. No, it sounded like meowing because, like, on the street, no, there's literally two men were on her back, and she was trying to scream as loud as she could, on like compressed, and it sounded like a cat, and I'm like, because it was coming through the door, I'm like, oh my god, it's like she had to be on something. Like, it was like the craziest thing.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty far gone.
Yeah, no, it literally took, because I was looking through it, like, it took literally 3 or 4 people to hold her down. Like, that's how, like, and it was men.
In her defense, the house is, somewhat similar on your street, so she could have just been off by like one house and thought, but.
I know it sounds crazy. Like, you would think it was a woman, but, like, literally, like, when I opened the door and I saw, like, I looked down, there was a purse on the ground. That was the first thing. And then the police officer was like, yeah, the woman. I was like, woman? I was literally legitimately, because it sounded like a homeless man that was, like, hopped up on, like, some type of drug. Because the way they were beating on the door and, like her voice was so, like,
gravelly.
Yeah, it was just like, it's like, oh my god. I was like, I'm not letting you in. Huh? What's that?
I said, did she know your name?
No. Like, our initial thought was that maybe the people across the door had, like, someone that was staying with him, and she thought she was at the right house. And
must have been.
But even then, I'm like, if you thought you were at your house, why would you, like, be screaming the things that she was saying? Like, why would you try to break your own door down? Like, that doesn't even make sense either. Like, I don't know. But obviously she was, like, so far gone that logic was not part of
logic was not her strong suit.
Yeah. Well, the funny part was, like, I was telling people about it, and, like, a few other people like, oh yeah, I've had that happen to me before too. I'm like, what? Is this, like, a common thing? Apparently, like, there's always someone else that had it too. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
No, I've never had that happen to me.
No, but if it does, it's wild. It is so wild.
Yeah. No, I saw lots, like, lots of stories about that, but usually they're more lighthearted,
Junkies. Joey says, my friend works in drug interdiction or is it interdiction or intervention? He told me that the price of meth is
those are synonyms.
Huh? All one and the same. Okay.
Synonyms.
But the price of meth is 1/10 of what it used to be. Okay, yeah.
Hey, there's not inflation everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. How's it 1/10, but everything else is like the opposite? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know.
This is a hot take, but the people that are in charge of meth should be in charge of the government. That's all I'm saying. I'm just kidding.
Wow. It might be a hot take to say that they actually are.
Oh,
I guess it's cocaine.
Actually, you might be right because
I think they found cocaine in the Oval Office, not meth. Meth would have been funnier though.
Well, wasn't meth like the reason why it's such an epidemic is because, like, it was basically pill form? Didn't they give a whole bunch of people, like, really strong?
I think it's an epidemic because it's like you can make it and it's, like, extremely addictive.
Right, but
so it's like
the reason why people got so addicted to it is because they got, like, really strong painkillers and they had to get it fixed, so they just start doing.
I think, like, the
or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I feel like that was.
I think those are two parallel massive problems that you come to a Bengals.
They shoot meth now. Man, this is crazy. Like, I can't keep up with all that. I don't know, like, maybe the area I live in, I don't know. It just seems like when I go back to Ohio, there's some parts that seem to get worse and worse, like Coleraine.
Mm-hmm. Is that it? That's like your list of places that get worse and worse is Coleraine?
That's the only place I'm familiar with. Like
Okay.
That's the place I come back and visit. But I mean, just the stories I heard, just it's not like I've already like had a handful of people that like went to my school or people like I knew of, not necessarily like I was like best friends, but have like, you know, already passed away because of that stuff. And it's kind of crazy for me to even like think that, because like growing up was like I never would expect some of those people to go down that path, but you know, it's crazy how things happen or how quickly it could escalate, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I mean, especially like the meth stuff. I think it's like super addictive.
And it is an epidemic, so it's pretty much everywhere. It's just I haven't necessarily seen it here like the way I've seen it back at home, I guess.
Well, maybe you just don't know as many people.
True, that's what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily probably in the right part of town for that, but nonetheless. But I guess, do you have anything else you want to add to like maybe the reactions to Cris Collinsworth, or?
I don't know, man. I don't even know what we're talking about. We went from like talking about the Bengals winning the Super Bowl to like meth. So
honestly, it's Chris Jones' fault.
Stay in school, kids.
Yeah,
stay in school.
It's back pain. All right. Well, thank you, Joey. I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, catch you later, Joey.
Yeah, we'll probably be back on next Wednesday, same time. All right.
Ish.
All right. We're going to end this. We'll see you guys.
All right.